Now we're going to tackle an object with a circle line and some areas of hatching. The length of these lines are given as 60, but we do not know how long these two shorter lines are. We know the radius of a circle, and we know the center of a circle should be 500,0. Now to tackle this, it's far easier to draw the lines first and then put the circle inside, instead of starting from the center of the circle first. So what we do is we draw some 45-degree lines, we then draw the circle, trim off the lines that we don't need, put the hatching. The last and also very important part is to move the entire object to the base point, which is 500,0. Now let's look at the drawing aids at the bottom of the screen. If we hover the mouse over the polar tracking, right click, we have to ensure the 45-degree tracking is on. It is now active. Move the mouse next to that and we now check the Object Snap command. Right click and we see the midpoint, endpoint and center are all on. In fact, all other settings are on in this case. We can leave them as they are because they don't affect the drawing. Left click to clear that. We just double check to make sure the polar tracking as well as the Object Snap are on. Click the line command and we start to draw. Click anywhere on screen. Now it doesn't matter where we draw because we are going to move the object to the base point after we've done the drawing. So click on the screen and start to draw 45-degree lines. So now we're going to draw the first line 60 long, type 60 and press enter. Move the mouse downwards and until we see a dotted line, type 60, press enter. Move up again, when we see a dotted line, type 60, press enter. And move the mouse now to the start point. Now Object Snap helps us to snap right to the start point, and this is where we want the line to end, so click on that. The next is we can pull the mouse down so it gives us a vertical line downwards, and until it hits the bottom corner we click again. Now press enter to clear the line command. Press enter again to restart the line command because we want to draw a horizontal line from one corner to another like this. Okay, click to clear that and press enter. Now we are ready to draw the circle. Click the circle command, move the mouse to the intersection of the two diagonals, which is the center of a circle. Click on that, drag it out, type 30 for the radius, and we have the shape of the object which closely resembles what we have in the figure, but we need to tidy it up. The way to do that is to trim. So click on trim and select the whole figure. You see what I do is normally I click from right to left so I could select the entire object very easily. Right click to tell AutoCAD we have picked the objects for trimming. So we need to find out which are the lines we don't need. So move the mouse over to this line. We know that we don't need that one. We don't need this one. We don't need the two shorter lines here as well as here. Okay. Now we don't need these two lines as well, but it's far easier to delete them rather than trim them. So I press escape to clear the trim command. I swipe my mouse, click on that and swipe over these two lines. Now I've both picked. Press the delete key on the keyboard. We now have a shape that is what we have as an outline. What's missing is the hatching. Move the mouse now to the hatch button, click on that, and pick the solid hatch pattern. Now the hatch pattern is done on exact the same layer as the lines, so we don't have to create a new layer. All we have to do is to move the mouse onto the areas that we need to hatch. So the first one is the triangular shape at the top. When it becomes white, it's giving us a preview of what it will become when we click the mouse. So now we click the mouse, move the mouse to the next triangular part, click again, and move it to the bottom. Make sure you don't make any mistakes, so click there, and we now have the object done. Press escape to complete the command. Now what we have to do is to move the entire object to the reference point. The reference point is the base point of the circle. It's the center point of the circle there. That point has to be 500,0, this point over here. So all we do is we select this object again, select the entire object, right click, the context menu comes up. What we need is to move this, so click the move command and hover the mouse over to the center of the circle. Now we click on that and it will ask us to say where we want this object to go. Now we know it goes to the exact point 500,0, but we can't just type it in because the dynamic input is on. When a dynamic input is on, when we type coordinates, it will give us relative instead of absolute. And this point 500,0 is absolute. So what we do is we have to remove or switch off this dynamic input. So switch off dynamic input and type the point, which is 500,0. You can see what we type goes into the command line. Now press enter. The object disappeared off the screen. It's actually moved to our reference point. So if we turn the wheel of the mouse to zoom out and zoom back in again, move the mouse over to the object close to where the center of the circle is, just to double check. You see at the bottom left of the screen that shows the coordinates, which is 500,0 approximately. So we know the figure has been moved to the right point.